Video footage shot close to the Golan Heights was published by the Russian military, who are among the leading voices demanding that occupying Israel put a stop to the slaughter in Gaza. All are welcome here today. Earlier today, we informed you in our video that troops from Russia and Turkey had been stationed on the border with Lebanon. Israel reports from private NTV media indicate that next week, over 260 Turkish troops will join the multinational force in Lebanon, marking the country's first deployment of peacekeepers. But before we get into the next video, if you're new here, remember to subscribe by clicking the bell symbol. That way, you won't miss any of the future instructive movies that we will release according to Turkey and newspaper.com. Today, a video from one of Russia's media channels showed Russian military near the Golan Heights. Lots of people think the ECCC film that the Russians supposedly filmed is a message for Israel. The aforementioned video shows the Russian flag, Russian troops, the military front, and Golan Heights. Yet, it also indicates that Russia might join the game at any moment. A sizable Russian military contingent is still stationed in Syria, not far from the Israeli border. After Israel attacked Syria's Damascus airport, Russia condemned the move. On the other hand, a Russian news source said that on Tuesday, the UN General Assembly passed a resolution demanding that Israel evacuate the occupied areas. Russia was one of 91 countries who gave their stamp of approval to the text. The Brazilian, India, Saudi Arabia, and China. A total of 62 nations chose not to participate, while 8 nations, among them the US and UK, voted against. Arab world, Colombia, Venezuela, ancient Egypt, Jordan, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Kim Jong-un, Cuba, Ararat, Lebanon, and Kuwait. The resolution was co-written by Syria, Tunisia, and the United Arab Emirates. The document consists of 8 elements. In the first, it is said that Israel has failed to execute UN Security Council Resolution 497, which invalidates Israel's annexation. Israel must once again withdraw from entire occupied Syrian Golan to the June 4, 1967, line in conformity with applicable Security Council resolutions, according to the letter. Furthermore, it finds that the Syrian Golan's de facto annexation and protracted occupation are obstacles to achieving a fair, comprehensive, and lasting peace in the region. In addition, the United Nations General Assembly has asked the Secretary General to report back to it at its 79th session on how the current resolute has been implemented. It has also called on Israel to resume talks on the Syrian and Lebanese tracks and to honor the agreements and pledges made during the previous 6 days of talks during the 1967 war. Israel took control of the Golan Heights, which Syria had controlled since 1944. The 1981 Sovereignty Declaration over the Golan Heights was made by the Israeli parliament without consulting any other party. The United Nations Security Council deemed the annexation null and unlawful in Resolution 497 on December 17, 1981, according to U.S. authorities. Wagner's Circle Lebanese group Hezbollah is set to get an air defense system from a Russian paramilitary force. The Wall Street Journal states that the Russian C-22 system employs a combination of anti-aircraft missiles and artillery to counter flying objects. Officials in the United States are quite concerned about the potential weapons transfer, and while they have not confirmed that the equipment was sold to Hezbollah, they are carefully monitoring the communications between Wagner and the group. A response from the Russian embassy is still pending. On the other hand, the White House National Security Council spokeswoman Adrienne Watson voiced her concerns over the delayed weapon acquisition on Thursday night, as reported by the WSG. Moscow has welcomed Hamas leaders with open arms, according to Watson, and Russia is hesitant to denounce Hamas's most recent terrorist strike on Israel. There has been a return of Russian forces from the Wagner Group, and Russia is continuing its assault on Ukraine. The current president of Syria, Bashar al-Assad, is deeply devoted to Putin. Since the recent battle between Israel and Hamas, the United States has stationed aircraft carriers in the eastern Mediterranean to dissuade Hezbollah from threatening to attack Israel from the north. The world is sitting tight for Hassan Nasrallah, head of Hezbollah, to deliver a speech in which the group's goals may be revealed. A further complication is that Wagner is in Syria with Hezbollah forces who are backing Assad. Our sources inform us that with Assad's blessing, Hezbollah might get the C-22 system that Syria now possesses. Many are worried about Mexico's increasing power in the area and its ties to Iran, which include this possible weaponry transfer. Iran's leading position in supplying drones to Russia and their joint efforts to manufacture these drones in Russia demonstrate the growing relationship between the two nations. As to the SGAA, there are many who think that giving the S-22 to Hezbollah, an organization sponsored by Iran, is a way to show appreciation for Iran's assistance. One such mobile air defense equipment is the Panzer system, often called the C-22 system. Its primary function is to intercept and destroy precise missiles, drones, and airplanes. The Kremlin assumed control of the Wagner Group, a private military enterprise, when its founder, Yevhen Prashin, passed away. At the same time that the United States has demanded real measures to save people, Israeli soldiers have encircled Gaza, a vital Hummer defense. According to Israeli military officials, a major victory in the protracted conflict with Hamas was the successful encirclement of Gaza City. When speaking to a group of elite troops on Thursday, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu praised their service and its accomplishments. Even as he recognized the deaths and sacrifices, he praised the Israeli military for their victory in the war. Even though the campaign is still ongoing, we have achieved great success so far. This was said at a base close to Tel Aviv. Next week, over 260 Turkish troops will join the multinational force in Lebanon, marking the country's first deployment of peacekeepers. Deployment reviews are still continuing, thus the Turkish Foreign Ministry would not immediately corroborate the story. Turkish military authorities could not be reached for comment at this time. On Tuesday, the aviation unit with around 260 troops was supposed to depart Ankara for Lebanon. While ground troops from Turkey were not expected, NTV said that a Turkish ship would depart on Friday to join multinational naval forces near the coast of Lebanon. The Turkish contingent is set to deploy outside the Tyre port to provide a hand in repairing fractured bridges. It is situated in Indonesia, about 12 miles to the north of the Jordanian border with Lebanon. And more Muslim nation is also preparing to deploy soldiers to Lebanon, despite widespread popular opposition. Last month, the Turkish parliament gave its approval for the deployment of troops to assist in monitoring the disengagement of Hezbollah terrorists from the conflict in Israel. If Hezbollah militants in southern Lebanon are asked to surrender, the Turkish president, who has long spoken in favor of deploying peacekeepers to the country, has assured the public that Turkish forces would be pulled out of the country quickly. We have concluded today's video. Turkish citizens fear being dragged into conflicts with other Muslim countries, despite the fact that the country's population is 99% Muslim. Most of the Islamic world and Israel were vehemently opposed to the 34-day war with Hezbollah and the shelling of Lebanon that took place this summer. For more videos like this one, be sure to subscribe to our channel and give the video a thumbs up. Please stay tuned for further updates.